I think it's going to ask you for permission. And also, what I haven't done in the past that I just learned the other day that I should have been doing, but no regrets. I'll keep doing from here on out. Is that I need to pin my video as the big picture, and then it won't be split screen. Just when you watch, I'm sure when you've seen it, you've watched these videos I've made. There's just half the screen is you sitting there going, "Yeah." So I just set the video so now it's me full screen,
Yeah,
and you'll be able to
yeah,
see my
yeah. It was
hands
kind of
better.
embarrassing seeing myself.
Yeah. So there may still be a little you in the corner or something, but now it just devotes more space to my hands. You'll be able to see the keyboard better. So, I'm thinking I just kind of started playing around in the key of C. And notice the first thing I do, and this is a really good habit to get into, is that I voice the chord with the third on top. We just really like the sound of thirds in in all kinds of music. And so a lot of people will instinctively put down, if you're going to play a C major chord, we'll put a root position C major, which is fine. But I really like the sound of the third on top of chords. So I've got this 6/4 shape, a second inversion shape in my right hand. And like the keyboard exercise you just did, it starts with that. And then when I move to a 4 chord, I do it as smooth as I can. So I just went from C to F. And the A minor's right there. Now the A minor I'll play in root position. Because it's so close, voice leading wise, I only move that one note. 4 chord. So there's a super basic tune in the key of C major. I used the C chord, I used the F chord, back to C, to G, C, F, C, G, and then I used the deceptive progression from the 5 to 6. There's a 6 chord. This time also second inversion shape on the 6. Then I marched down from here, everything in parallel motion, to 4. Then 5. Still 5. And then 1. And then a little amen tag. By the way, that's a pedal 6/4 from chapter 9. When I go here, it's an F major chord, right? F, A, C. But it still has C in the bass. So it's a 6/4. It's a 4/6/4. Back to 1. And there's no mystery about the numbers 6/4. This is a sixth. And this is a fourth. So it's not some secret code. It really is just a 6/4 chord. Keep the same note in the bass. Makes a 1 chord. 4/6/4. So I use that as a little tag at the end. What makes it even cooler is if I drop this voice down here. Little variation on that.
Yeah, I was keeping on with the chords and the inversions. I think the hard part for me is the melodic detection and like the whole rhythm.
Right.
Yeah,
So
like thinking of
here's a basic pop piano feel. So you get the two thumbs involved. That has a lot to do with that rhythm I'm playing. And then the right hand, I'm thinking of I'm planning to go to that F before I even play the little melody thing. And as far as, why do I choose? I don't know. It's been so long since I've incorporated all these little melodies in my head that they just kind of come out. So the thing to do is to, you to steal that.
okay.
And then practice it and you play it 100 times and now it's in your head too. There's a bunch of ways I could get in there. One thing I did was a little country. It's called a double stop. It really comes from guitar and violin when they play two strings at the same time on the guitar or violin. Um, it's called a double stop. Comes from a string instrument, but we use it on piano too. And the way to get that sound is to hit these two together and then move to E. But of course, practice it slowly. we love thirds. When you hear that sound, I'm just walking up in thirds on the 5 chord, but putting it down here and maybe keeping a G here. So remember, we're shooting this video to collect a whole bunch of stuff. So they're probably, like right there in the last 10 minutes, has been about, 5 or 6 different practice sessions for you. So you can choose a thing, spend 15, 20 minutes just learning how to go. And of course, behind all of it, and that's what part of your question, is rhythm, is groove. I grew up a rock musician, and so the sound, what's in my heart, in my soul as I'm playing that, is a drum set going zoom doo bop go boom boom bop boom boom doo da, with that snare drum on the backbeat. Do 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 bop do. You know what I mean? Groove, groove, groove. Okay. You want any other questions, clarification on that stuff?
No,
Move
no.
on to another style?
Yeah,
Well, just because it came to me, one of the things I do a lot of is I play a lot of salsa piano. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I
and
can
so,
tell.
let me lay you down give you some basic Cuban Caribbean piano concepts, okay?
Yeah.
Um, Probably one of the most recognizable and easiest to play conceptually, although the rhythm takes practice, but is your classic. And conceptually, it's really very, very simple. I'm starting with
Okay.
a minor triad, and then I'm moving the bottom note down by half steps. That's it. And I'm keeping these two in the same place. I'm going to grab my Bluetooth speaker and um, use my phone to play some background rhythms. The primary thing being the clave. The clave pattern is at the center of all this stuff. And I'm sure you're familiar with claves, the two sticks that you clack together, clank, 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 clank.
Yeah.
So I have a program that's just an app that's just called the clave. It's just what you can see. It's washing out. Anyway, it's just called the clave. An app on my phone. It's free.
Hey, just to keep you on beat.
Yeah, and what it does is it plays that clave pattern. Now, this is in what's called a 2/3 clave form. So we hear the tick tick first. That tick tick. Let me do it the other way around. So a standard 3/2. Let me put it on 3/2, and you can hear. This will be more recognizable and it's easier to grab the 3/2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good old bop. And that pattern finds its way into all kinds of stuff. You know, call it like the Muddy Waters. They call it the ham bone groove.
Mhm.
A lot of guitar players use it in the 50s. It's been around forever. And of course, it comes from Mother Africa through Cuba. But you got your. Why not have a little guitar tangent? We'll come back, but it's a the guitar is a great way to practice these rhythms. So let me go back to my other camera. I'm using an E minor chord, one of the easiest chords on the guitar. These two strings on the second fret. Down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. Rule number one in strumming a guitar. Absolute first, most important rule in strumming a guitar. Well, after practice everything slowly and accurately, right? You know that rule. Is never stop your hand. Keep your hand moving the whole time.
Okay.
Down, up, 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 down, up. And I'm using the palm of my hand to mute the bridge. Just putting a little flesh on the strings down here. That's why it sounds like that. And then you accent. That's a nice way to practice rhythmic patterns. Down, up, down, 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 up, down, down,
Hmm.
Okay, so let's apply that concept to right and left hand. Back on the piano. We can practice clave patterns, tapping right and left hand. So, now I'll use, how about in the lap? I'm going to go, just like the guitar concept, constant subdivision, never stop. The hands just go right, left, 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 right, left. One
Is it
and
okay to think of it as like eighth notes?
absolutely, exactly.
Okay.
That's just what I was going to do. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and and two and three and four and one and two and three and four. Now watch this. One and two and three and four and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. One and two and three and four and one and two, three. Now this is when I go fast. Jung chikung 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 dung chikung 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 dung chikung 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 dung dung chikung chikung dung dung tick 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 tick. But practice it here. Two and three and four and one and two, three. One and three and four and two, three. One of the very best things you can do for yourself rhythmically to play truly in any style is to get that clave pattern just woven right into your bones. You know, I can go.
Why in particular?
That all had clave inside of it. And it's not that I practiced playing that thing before. It's that I have the clave chugging inside the back of my mind. And so it's just it comes out and it's not a conscious thing, which means you can't consciously will it into existence. You have to practice those patterns, practice this groove thousands of times, spend 100 hours walking around tapping clave, and it'll start coming out in your music. So, well, let's stop if you got a question before I go back to the piano.
So you were saying if I learned that this kind of rhythm, I can play like any other style. Why that like particular rhythm?
Because the clave, especially the three side, but the clave in general, this is kind of like clave theory. um, the clave there's two sides of the clave. Okay, there's the three side, tick tick count tick count, tick tick tock tick count, bop bop. And then the two side is that bop bop. Well, the three side has this syncopation, and the syncopation means, of course, off the beat. It kind of throws you up, it lifts you up and pushes you off the beat. The two side of the clave goes bop bop and brings you down and connects you to the ground. So it's this balance of syncopation and woo, here we are up off the beat and grounding yourself. And in my opinion, and I think there are a lot of people who agree with me, anything that grooves has this sense of grounding and syncopation alternating back and forth. Whether it's a funky bass line, boo doo bop boom beam boom buddy da ba ba boom boom bum buddy ba doom bom ba ba boom bop boom. It's got a boo doo da doo boom bop buddy da dee da ga ga boom bum buddy da doo doo boop boop. There's it falls into that pattern. Um, so yes, so much groove music all over, throughout all the genres. So much groove music has this fundamental sense of grounding and syncopation, sort of alternating this 2 bar feel in a pattern. Now, to simplify it even more, the 3 side of the clave repeated over and over again. Some folks refer to that as the mother of all rhythm. The tresillo is this just the 3 side where it goes paka to boom boom, poopa to boom boom, papa to boom boom, papa to boom boom. And there's a lot of music that just does that. That soca stuff, the songo, the there's African musics that do it. There's a lot of Caribbean musics, reggae stuff. Boop to boom boom boop to boo boop boop to boo doo doo to goo doo. And that's just that 1 and 2 and 3 4, 1 and 2 and 3 4, 1 and 2 and 3 4, 1 and 2 and 3 4. And you find that all over the world, that basic feel of 1 and 2 and 3 4, 1 and 2 and 3 4. To simplify it even more, it's a group of three, a group of three, and a group of two. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Another great pattern to just lose yourself in. Just turn a metronome on. Or if you want to listen to something that does that all day long, you ever listen to any Puerto Rican reggaeton?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
reggaeton, it's like only that all the time.
Oh,
Goom to
okay.
goom 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 to goom goom. It's reggaeton. It does it all day long. That's
Yeah.
that tresillo, that mother of all rhythms.
Wow.
One
Okay.
two three, 1 2 3, 1 2 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2. My favorite band that I got turned on to when I was in Puerto Rico was Calle 13. Are you familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're great, man.
Yeah, they're
It's such
good.
a huge variety of stuff they do. You know,
Yeah.
they did that super serious that song with Ruben Blades, the La Perla, the story of the La Perla neighborhood, in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, and it's heavy. It's some heavy stuff in there. But then they do all the crazy lighthearted stuff like Fiesta de Locos. Do you know that song?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild. I love it. Yeah, those guys are great. It's super
Wow. Okay.
creative. Yeah. I got turned on to that. One of the guys I was studying Spanish with in Puerto Rico, he was a drummer. And he said,
Okay.
"Oh, you got to check these guys out." And he first turned me on to La Perla, to that song. And from there, I just started listening, to different albums. And I ran across that album with Fiesta de Locos, and oh, I just loved it. It's got like
Oh, that's nice.
tuba and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. Well, anyway, that reggaeton, and like now, who's the big hotshot Puerto Rican guy?
Oh man, there's a
Oh,
lot of them.
is it Bad Bunny? Is that his name?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah,
His music.
I'm not crazy about him myself, but
No, me
anyway, he's
neither.
kind of bringing reggaeton into the bigger picture. For
Yeah, he's made it. He's had a big influence on it. Yeah.
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 So anyway, yeah, all that stuff. You're gonna hear that boom to
Yeah.
boom 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 to boom 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 to boom boom all day long.
Okay.
So that's the 3 side of the clave. Taka tick taka tick taka taka tick taka tick taka. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 1 2 and 3 4 1 2 and 3 4 1 2 and 3 4. But then the full clave pattern has the 2 side as well. That's the psych you up syncopated side, and then the 2 side is the boom boom that puts you back on the ground side. Pop 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 boom boom. Pop 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 chicka boom boom. So back to salsa. Salsa, of course, uses the 3/2 a lot, but most of the mainstream like salsa jam sessions that you hear when the band is really jamming and you hear, this all that stuff is actually a 2/3 clave. They
Okay.
put the 2 side first, the
Okay.
bom bom. And so when you're listening to that clave, there's actually a hole, there's an empty space on beat 1 of the 3 side. But here, let me see if you can see. this is this never works. Trying to, oh wait, almost there. Okay, there.
Yeah.
That's the
The
3, that's the 3-2. You see how it goes dotted quarter and then eighth. So the dotted quarter is on 1, the eighth is on the end of 2, and then the last quarter note's on beat 4. That's the
okay.
tresillo. That's the mother of all rhythms, that 3 side.
Okay.
And then notice on the 2 side, there's a rest on beat 1. And then you've got 2 quarter notes on beats 2 and 3, and then a rest on beat 4.
Yeah.
So that's the 2 side. So if you start with the 2 side, imagine that one first. Actually, you don't have to imagine it because I can switch it in the app.
That's cool.
Okay, so now it's the 2-3. Whoop, come on, focus, buddy. It doesn't want to focus on my phone.
Okay.
Ah, it's not doing it. Come on. I just had it a second ago. Anyway, you can kind of picture a fuzzy version of that 2 side. It's got a rest on beat 1. So when
Yes.
you feel the 2-3 clave, you got to put in your own in that space. So check it out. Oh, what happened? It disconnected from my Bluetooth. Probably because I wasn't using it. Come on, baby. There it goes. So here's the uh, uh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And it's to that 2-3 clave that we play these piano montuno patterns, usually kind of generally known as a montuno, although their wahea is a more common term, I think, in Cuba. But in North America, we tend to say, we call the whole thing montuno, even though it's actually a specific style. Now that's complicated. there's a very complicated interaction between my piano part and the clave. They work together. They belong together. But it's complicated. So let me play it with a regular metronome so you can really hear the rhythm itself. And even slower. I'm going all the way down to like 80. The rhythm I'm playing is 1, 2, and. That's how it starts. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. Now the rest of the pattern from there on out is either really simple or really difficult. Depends on how you look at it. Conceptually, it's very simple. I just play all syncopated ands for the rest of the pattern. They're all ands. That's easy to say. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2. So it's easy to conceptualize, but it takes a lot of practice to get good at it. Little overlook of the piano again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and. I'm going to add an octave on top. What do you think of that? That's some wild stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. So yeah, the really the three rhythms that I've thrown at you for the sake of getting the the Cuban feel into your bones is first the general clave pattern of bump to gump to gump to bum bum. And of course, you can go back in the video and practice that. Then the tresillo, which is probably the simplest, just the bump to bump to bump. Oh, sorry, but that just repeats as one bar. Bump to bump to bump bump. The reggaeton groove. You can just picture those, the like those Cuban cars and the Puerto Rican cars cruising around with their big booming. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is your family Puerto Rican or the Mexican?
No, Mexican, but I studied in Puerto Rico
That's right.
at a Christian university. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you heard some
Yeah,
reggaeton.
no, I listen to I used to listen to reggaeton a lot. I still do, but not that much.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's that tresillo. It's just the three
Yeah.
side of the clave. And then probably the most complicated would be the montuno piano rhythm, which is the 1 2 and 1 2 and putting the metronome on quarter notes, tick tick tack 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 tick tack tack tack, and then to really put it all together. But it's a relatively advanced thing. Try it, go for it. But it's to play that montuno pattern with the 2 3 version of the clave. 2 3 clave and the montuno pattern is that's when things are really clicking. And then you put the percussion in there, the timbales with the campana and the conga, that stuff, and then it all makes sense. The bass line too, the tumbao bass. But this wasn't meant to be an entire salsa lesson.
Yeah.
Um, but it's all really good stuff. And like I said, the more you spend time with these rhythms, the better your sense of rhythm and groove will be, no matter what kind of music you're playing. That I believe 100%.
So with this kind of rhythm, like other rhythms will be like easier to play for me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. No question. Even the basic act of just spending a bunch of time with a metronome and practicing a pattern is just making you a better grooving, you know, a beat centered musician in general. But the fact that you're practicing these cool rhythms that really are everywhere, especially that tresillo, it's everywhere. I have this cool app called the Drum Genius. It has 400 different drum grooves on it, and he's got
Okay.
a metronome section in there. And you go to the metronome section, and he's got Mother of All Rhythm. You can just turn it on, and you can
Okay.
put that rhythm behind everything if you want. He's also got
Yeah.
clave that you can turn on, and you can turn on the clave for whatever you're listening to. Whether I mean, it's like country funk, right? And
Yeah.
there it is. There's the clave button to turn the clave. And so clave and tresillo in particular they're behind the scenes on just about everything that grooves. So it's time well spent. What else you got on your mind while we're doing this?
Uh,
Got about 10 minutes.
uh,
I mean, I got a million ideas if you don't have one.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll plant a seed, and I think this is a thing we should come back to next week. Is basic jazz voice leading, and in particular using the tune "Autumn Leaves."
Yeah.
And have we done any of that at all?
No, not we haven't really gone into any jazz standard stuff. No.
Okay, so I'm going to plant the seed with a basic everything in one key, and then next week we'll apply it to autumn leaves.
Okay.
Uh, so let me go to the piano. Now you know the circle of fifths progression, that great circle of fifths progression, the complete one that we kind of tore apart when we made those harmonic progression charts. But let's go back to the complete one. The complete one ended with 5-1, right? And remember that little journey we went on? It ends with 5-1. Well, if you want to find the chord that precedes 5, it turns out it's 2. 2, 5-1. And then before 2 is a 6 chord. 6-2-5-1. And that's the progression we're playing right now. In theory, is 1-6-2-5-1. 1-6-2-5-1. We use an inversion in there, so the bass line changes. But anyway, if we put that circle of fifths progression all the way together, all the way from C to C, we find that it goes 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. And remember the definition of circle of fifths progression was root motion of ascending fourths
Fourths or fifths.
or descending fifths, right?
Okay. Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do right here. These are roots. We're going to go up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, down a fifth, up a fourth, and we end up back where we started.
Okay.
Cool. And the numbers are 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. I'm just going to say it a bunch of times over and over again and get it stuck in your head. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. 1-4-7-3-6-2-5-1. All right? Let's focus on the 1-4 part. That's right at the beginning. Do you remember those two numbers? 1 and 4?
Yeah. 1-4.
1 and 4. Now we're applying this to jazz harmony. And one of the distinctive things about jazz and the sound of jazz is that we use seventh chords pretty much all the time. Like every chord we play has a seventh on it. That's what makes things sound jazzy. That it adds all this color to the chord. So let's focus on the seventh chords of the first two chords of the circle of fifths progression.
Okay.
So first is the one chord. So what kind of seventh chord do we find on one in a major key? What kind of seventh chord do you find on C?
The C major 7.
Yeah, C major 7, exactly. What kind of chord do you find on the four chord? That's our next chord. And you can play it to find out if you want.
Is it a?
We're in the key of
It's a
C, so you're not going to use any notes outside of C. What do you find? What's the root?
the F
Yep.
for the.
Now
For,
play, play every
it's
other
a
note. Yeah, what do you got?
an F major 7.
Yep, totally. So play the C major 7 again. And remember the primary rules of voice leading is that we want to move things as smoothly as
Oh, okay.
possible.
So okay.
Following me? See where we're headed with this?
Yeah. And then
Yeah. Did we do this before?
no, but I mean I got the concept of voice leading.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so what are the common tones between the C major 7 and the F major 7?
The the C the s- the C and the E
That's right.
and yeah, the C and the E, yeah.
The C and the E. Yep. And then the top two voices move down, right?
Yes.
And we end up with F major 7. The
Mm-hmm.
next chord in our circle of fifths progression, do you remember what came after 4? 1, 4.
7,
Yeah. So what's 7 in the key of C?
diminished,
Correct. What's the root?
B.
Yep. So if we're here and we need to play a B chord, it's a B minor 7 flat 5, B half diminished. It's just right there.
Yeah,
The
and
bottom two notes move down.
okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's after 7?
The 3,
3. So what do we need to do for our 3 chord? You can
we
probably
can,
probably guess.
yeah, we and
Yep, exactly. And
yeah,
then 6,
just
bottom
move down.
just move down. Then 2, the top two notes move down. 5, now we're on the G chord. And then back home to the C major 7, but this time we're in an inversion because we've moved through this whole cycle. And that's as far as we take it. Try that.
Mm.
Oh, you got off by one little notch there. Yeah, try it again. Be real careful with the voice lead. Make sure you're only moving 2 notes each time. Yeah, that's where you jump down for some reason. Play the A minor
Oh,
7, and then just take the top 2 notes down. Then G7. Yeah, there it is. Right on. So now we need to add our left hand on the roots because these are all technically root position chords. In the right hand, we're playing a bunch of inversions, right? But remember, what defines whether a chord ultimately is considered root position or not is what's in the bass.
Yeah.
In the bass, we're going to play all the roots of all these chords. We're going to look at it two ways. One is that definition of circle of fifths progression that we got from the chapter, and that is ascending fourth, descending fifth, ascending fourth, descending fifth.
Wait, so we don't have the root on the right hand? Is that what you said?
No, we're gonna keep the chords exactly
Okay.
as they are.
Okay.
We're just adding this bass line to it.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, I want to point another thing out about these roots. I want you to be able to visualize the roots in the chord in the right hand as well. When you're playing at this shape, that's simple, right? The bottom note is the root. But when we move to this inversion, this shape in the right hand, it's
Hmm.
a little harder to picture the root.
Hmm.
But here's the shortcut.
Okay.
The root and the seventh are always right next to each other, and they always make a second, with the root on the right and the seventh on the left crunched together. So when I play this shape, this is the root,
Hmm.
okay? Then I go to the B chord, that's obviously the root. Then I go to the E chord, and I can see there's the root. See how it's crunched next to the
Yeah.
seventh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another way to keep track of what's happening in the left hand. C chord, F chord, B chord, E chord, A chord, D chord, G chord, C chord. We're pretty much out of time, so I'm just going to throw a couple things on the video that you can watch later, okay? One is making the bass line more interesting by adding, and this is the key phrase, adding the third of the third of the chord you're on below the root of the next chord. Okay, so check it out. We have now, I'll just do the first few chords. 1, 4, 7, 3. Okay, if I follow what I just said, I'm going to go to the third of the chord I'm on, the C chord, and put it right below the root of the next chord. Here's my next chord is B, so I'm going to put a note right below the B. My next chord is E, so I'm going to put a note below the E. And that ends up being the third of the chord. So if I go through root, third, 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 root. Okay, there's one bass pattern. Here's another bass variation. I head up like I'm heading stepwise to the F, but I have one more beat in the measure. I gotta kill one more beat. 1, 2, 3, jump over it and come back. And then go down the scale. make kind of a cool swinging walking bass line. So there's some theme and variations with that circle of fifths progression.
It's so much easier to like grasp the concept of voice leading when the piano's laid out for you than doing like the notation.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. It's
Yeah,
way easier to see it on the piano.
yeah,
You do it long enough working with sheet music, and eventually it's weird. They blend in your head. Like you
yeah,
look at the page, and you really, I've been doing it a long time and teaching
yeah,
theory the whole time too, not just being a piano player, but teaching theory every day for 20 years. So it all blends together into this weird combination of
mhm,
piano and staff. But absolutely, there's no question. Well, and it's the reason the piano looks like it does.
yeah.
The
It's like
shapes,
music theory laid out. Yeah.
exactly. All those shapes and patterns. That's why it looks that way. Is because it's music theory laid out. Yep. All right, man. Well,
All
it's
right.